Thank you so much, Krista Holtzmann, for being here today and having some time to talk about your campaign running for Colorado State Board of Education in Congressional District 4. Congratulations on your run.
Oh, thank you. And thanks for having me here this morning.
You're welcome. So let's just get started right away with what your top three issues are that you're focusing on.
Okay, yeah. So my focus will be on things that fundamentally improve the quality of education we provide to each and every one of our students. That starts with safe schools. We know that students who feel secure at school and who feel comfortable in a well-maintained and well-equipped classroom are students who are not only happier, but they're better able to focus and they're more motivated to learn. So that's why in 2018, as a DCSD board member, I supported a local bond measure to make sure that all of our school buildings were more secure. We focused on things like secure entryways, communication technology, and having well-trained and welcoming school resource officers in our buildings. We also, utilized our funds to make sure our schools were in good repair, because when we have leaky roofs and leaky plumbing and heat and cooling that isn't operable, that interrupts our learning and can cause a distraction. So as a state board member, I would support safe schools across Colorado, just like I did here in Douglas County. Secondly, I think it's important for our students to have a wide variety of learning options because our students have a wide variety of educational needs and interests. Diverse programs, curriculum resources, and teaching strategies make sure that every child receives what they need to develop and reach their goals. Some examples are music, career and technical offerings, art, advanced placement curriculum, special education services, foreign language, even extracurricular activities like team sports and FFA or Future Farmers of America or business offerings like DECA are all examples of the variety of learning options that we really need to provide each of our students so that when they graduate, they're well prepared for whatever path they choose, whether that be entering the workforce or attending college or joining the military or continuing to reach independent living goals. And finally, none of these learning options are possible without the teachers and the other staff in our school buildings. In fact, by far the most important resource we provide our students within their classrooms are our teachers. So making sure we support teachers is also critical to supporting our students. Families and communities working in partnership with school professionals also help us reach the common goal of providing the best education possible for each and every child.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And so I think you have a breadth of experience in this in education, right? Could you comment on that a little bit?
Sure. Well, I think it starts personally in my own life, in the lives of my children, and the lives of the many children that I have had the privilege of serving in my career. I know what a difference that high quality public schools can make. So I really do believe they deserve school board members who have an understanding of the strengths and challenges that face our schools. And as you said, for me, there's really no more important work than supporting children. It started for me studying child development in college and then serving as a preschool teacher and then becoming an attorney, where all of those things were aligned with my desire to make the world a better place for our kids. So after graduating from law school, I served as the director of operations for the Iowa Child Protective Training Academy. Then later I became an assistant state's attorney where I focused on child abuse and neglect cases. And then when my own children were younger, I was able to work a little bit less, which I know was a privilege, and spend more time at home. And it also allowed me to spend more time in our schools. So I really enjoyed volunteering there. I did everything from help with reading in kindergarten to shelving library books in middle school to managing basketball team concessions in high school. And honestly, I think that all of those volunteer experiences have prepared me just as much as my service on the school board here in Douglas County or my time as an attorney or a preschool teacher. So I really value those experiences and how they've helped me understand and appreciate our public schools even more.
Yeah, so let's talk about some of the issues that the school district is facing currently, as well as in the state. So there is an achievement gap in reading and math currently, and so that is something that's nationwide as well as statewide. But some of the impacts have been from COVID, but there's other factors involved in it. So what can you do you think, with this position in terms of helping to reduce that gap?
Right. It's a great question. And I would say that yes, first step is recognizing that there are gaps. And having teachers and professionals in our buildings that can analyze the assessments that our students take in order to help them, work towards constantly improving their instruction and meeting the needs of our students is so important. And it's also important to recognize that a lot of assessments are a snapshot in time. It doesn't explain the whole ability of our students. And so it's important to recognize that we have to use more than one measure to find out how to best help our students. And like you talked about the gap in reading and math, we also know that we have some opportunity gaps. There's differences sometimes in male and female students and their achievement and opportunities, as well as ethnicity and income level. It's important to help our schools find and address all those opportunity gaps.
Great. And so another issue that is really becoming more of an issue is absenteeism, also COVID related. In fact, 35% of the students are chronically absent, based on a study for 2021 to 2022. And we're still seeing the numbers are fairly high, but this is something that really needs to be addressed. What would you do for a solution for this?
Yeah, so, our schools know that students are absent for a variety of reasons. Some of those may be mental or physical health reasons for the student. Their families may be in distress, whether it be economically or emotionally. And even though the primary responsibility of our schools is academic learning, we know that that doesn't happen well when students aren't there or when they have these needs that are unmet. So our schools also fill the role of really being a significant support in connecting families with, food, shelter, economic resources, counseling. So I think it's important to recognize that, and as a state board member to support that as well. And additionally, when students feel disconnected or not welcome at school, their attendance and achievement obviously will suffer. So creating conditions within our schools for a meaningful connection is a school's responsibility. And I've seen that happen in a variety of ways here in Douglas County, and then also have some familiarity across CD4. As I was able to serve on CASB, which is the Colorado Association of School Boards. So it gave me a chance to have conversation with other school board members across the state. But some of the things that I know work in schools to create that positive culture, it starts with the leadership of the school at the very top, supporting, good policies about anti-bullying and just in general, welcoming every student. Some schools have attendance teams that, focus on looking at the data and providing positive enforcement and awards for good attendance, but then also, identifying ways they can help kids that aren't getting to school. Some of our high schools have programs where They encourage students to identify one trusted adult in the school. It's an adult that they can go to if they need help or if their friend needs help. And I've been in schools where students write the name of that adult on a Post-it note and put it on a wall. And there are literally hundreds of Post-it notes all over the school. So, there's a lot of creative ways that schools are looking at improving that connection with students. And, as a state school board member, I would support those creative solutions. And there is a little good news. The attendance has improved somewhat in this past year since COVID is behind us. And here in Douglas County, since I know that that's who I'm talking to mostly today, in Douglas County, our attendance has traditionally been quite a bit better than that state average. So.
All right. And so talking about parents and their involvement in the school process, one of the points that your opponent has talked about is wanting to be sure that parents are involved in the school system and not, quote, shut out. So what would you say about that approach?
Yeah, well, I would say that, there's no question that a child's academic success increases when their families are working in partnership with the teachers and the people in their schools. So it is important for teachers and school leaders and all school staff to prioritize communication with families and building relationships. And sometimes that means they have to make special efforts to overcome any language or cultural or technological barriers that might make it even more difficult to build that relationship with the family. But I think, just all of us keeping in mind that, families and teachers and the people in our schools, we really all have one common goal, and it's to best educate the student.
Mhm. So what's your stance then on school choice? We have so many choices in the state. Um,
Right. Yeah. Well,
where
you're
do you stand
correct.
on that?
I mean, in Colorado, students participate in public school choice. It's outlined by our legislature. We have traditional neighborhood schools, magnet schools, charter schools, online schools. All of these are public schools, and all of them provide high quality education for Colorado students. And what I would say is that as a state board member, I have jurisdiction over the public schools, not the private schools. Those are also great options, but not in the venue of the State Board of Education. So, and also just in terms of public school choice, as I talked about before, I think all of our schools have to continue strengthening their learning options, the choices that students have within the schools, those different pathways that they may choose. And we need to make sure that all of those are available to them in all our schools.
Great. So what are your closing thoughts on your campaign and running for this office?
Yeah. Well, my closing thoughts are CD4 is geographically the largest congressional district in Colorado. So my campaign team and I are working to connect with the teachers, school leaders, families, and community members in all of those 21 counties. And it's a big task. So in addition to the great team of volunteers that make up Krista for Kids, and you can find our website at www.kristaforkids.com. To effectively reach all of our voters, it's also going to require fundraising. And so I would just ask that I would appreciate your support. And if you're able to support in any amount, any donation amount, it would really help us to get out and reach all those 21 counties. And I need to do that to be able to continue increasing my understanding of the challenges and successes happening in all of our schools.
Yeah, wish you all the best in your whole campaign, and the election's in November, so there's still a bit of time to let people know your campaign and what you're about and why you're running. So we will get the word out, and then thank you again.
Yeah, well, thank you, Kira, and I'd be happy to come back and answer more questions as the campaign goes on. Yeah, as you said, it's not till November, so we have some time. So,
Right.
mhm.
All right. Wonderful. We'll take care.
All right, thank you. You too.
Bye.